it's on. So we're going to get started. Good evening. Could this weather be any better for our first outdoor? Can't hear? Okay, louder. Could this weather be any better for our first outdoor Tanner Prize lunch and dinner? Welcome. I'm David Cohen. I am Chair Emeritus of the Cornell Hillel Board, a longtime member of the Hillel International Executive Committee. This is our 13th annual, our bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah Tanner Prize recognition. And with my wife, Abby, and I, we were the second recipients in 2006 of the Tanner Prize. We're gathered this evening to honor Joe Lubeck, and class of 78 and parent 06, for his contributions to Cornell University, to Hillel, and it's actually a number of Hillels, not just Cornell, and to the broader community. It's a pleasure tonight to welcome Cornell President Martha Pollack, continuing an unbroken string of Cornell presidents attending Tanner Prize celebrations. Thank you for being here. We also have two university vice presidents, Joel Molina and Fred Van Sickle, who have also been here in the past. I'm also pleased to welcome Tina Price, who's the international president, chair of the board, of Hillel, and Eric Fingerart, who is the president of the Hillel International, and they both are here tonight as well. So welcome to them. Finally, I want to welcome Bob Harrison, the chair of the Board of Trustees of Cornell, and his wife, and to recognize our past Tanner Prize honorees who are here, including Barbara Friedman, who is the first honoree. I saw Barbara somewhere up at the top. Andy Tisch, Bob Katz, and Lynn Kroll. So, welcome. So this evening represents a number of milestones, not just a switch from the Cornell Club and lunch, but to Cornell Tech and dinner, but also a shift in where we're going, what we're doing. And I thought it might be fun to just reflect on how far we've come and what the road looks like ahead. This year's graduates, the class of 2018, were babies when we set out on this Hillel journey 20 years ago, and so were we. Like them, we've had our share of skinned knees and survived that. Like them, we've succeeded beyond our wildest dreams, and like them, the best is yet to come. As we've all heard, it takes a village to raise a child, and it took a village to get us to the point where we are, one of the best and brightest Hillels in the country. Our village consisted of many people, the many people who've served on our board over the past 2 decades, a number of whom are here tonight. People who devoted time and sweat, wealth, wit, and wisdom, as Yossi Siegel would say if he were here this evening instead of traveling, guiding our superb professional staff, and raising the money that's enabled us to get here. Our village consisted of the many dedicated professionals who have served us over the years. They don't disappear when the spring semester ends. They spend the summer planning for the fall semester and the incoming freshmen. This is not a 10-month job, it's probably a 13-month job. Our village consists of our university partners, the administration, faculty, and staff that work with us. And most of all, our village consists of the students, both Jewish and non-Jewish, whose lives and college experiences we've touched and who've touched us, and you will hear from students shortly. So how far have we come? Cornell Hillel is one of the oldest Hillels in the country, having been founded in the 1920s. I became chair in 1998. Our budget was $140,000. $40,000 of that was a deficit, and our bank account stood at literally zero. I have never figured out the accounting, although I tried many times to do that. But somehow they sort of scraped along. The professional staff consisted of one young program associate, literally one. The rabbi who'd been on campus for 11 years had left for a pulpit. And so she was left on her own with no board, no guidance, no money. We were not beloved by Hillel or by Cornell. Thanks to the efforts of a number of alumni, Mort Lowenthal, Lynn Kroll, who's here, and her husband Jules, Shelley Cabas, whose husband Aaron is here, and Bernie Udowitz in particular, with a not-so-gentle push from Richard Joel, then the international president of Hillel, we decided that we needed to give Cornell students the kind of Hillel that Cornell students should have. And we did that. We raised seed money, and we started a board, and we jump-started the revival of Cornell Hillel. And fast-forwarding, the picture is very different. We reached $1 million budget a number of years ago. Our next fiscal year budget will exceed $1.5 million. So, thanks to all of you. We have not run a deficit in 15 years. We have managed, even in the worst of the recession, to balance our budget. And each year, we have added staff and we have added programming to serve Cornell students. This year, our staff consists of 12 people, including 2 rabbis. In partnership with Hillel International, we have a Springboard Innovation Fellow, an Ezra Reform Engagement Fellow, and an Israel Fellow. We have an Engagement Associate and an IACT Coordinator for Israel Engagement. We're looking to add either a liberal rabbi or a senior Jewish educator. This past year, and some of the numbers were up on the board, we sponsored more than 500 events, attended by more than 1,800 students, many for multiple events. More than 500 students came to 6 or more events or undertook an immersive experience like Birthright Israel. We had Shabbat across Cornell, Shabbat 1000, the Jewish Leadership Council, Israel Week, Freshman Fest, High Holidays. We had speakers, including the actor Josh Radnor and Holocaust survivor, Nobel Prize winner, and past Tanner Prize recipient, Professor Roald Hoffman. We built a sukkah on the Art Squad, unimaginable when I was on campus, I will tell you that. And we have an alternative summer break to Poland and Germany. We send one of the largest contingents of students to the APAC conference, and we sent 100 students to Israel this year. In times of crisis on campus, the university seeks our help to help students cope with the tragedies that occur. And we're a Hillel of choice for young professionals starting their careers. The people we've trained at Cornell have gone on to lead Hillels in Canada, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Florida, Haifa. If you're in Haifa, you can visit Beit Haifa, and even on that other hill in Ithaca that you may have heard about. Others have gone on to work for Jewish not-for-profits, including UJA Federation in New York and the Schusterman Foundation. We are a flagship campus, and under Ari Weiss's leadership, the best is truly yet to come. Abby and I want to congratulate Joe Lubeck, this year's honoree, for his dedication to Cornell and to Hillel. You'll hear more about Joe and from Joe shortly. On behalf of Cornell Hillel, thank you all for being here tonight to help us celebrate.
Thank you, David, and thank you all for being here to celebrate Jewish student life at Cornell University. The rabbis in the Talmud asked the question, if the Torah were forgotten by the Jewish people, how could it be restored? So one rabbi, Rabbi Hanina, claimed that he alone could restore it through his argumentative powers. He was very humble also. The second rabbi, Rabbi Chia, said something I think more profound. He said, "What did I do? I went and sewed flax, made nets from flax cords, trapped deers, gave their skins to orphans, and prepared scrolls upon which I wrote the 5 books of Moses. Then I went to a town and taught the 5 books to 5 children and the 6 orders of the Talmud to 6 children. And I told them, until I return, teach each other the Torah and the Talmud. Thus I preserve the Torah from being forgotten." So here we see 2 different approaches for the continued survival, and I would say flourishing, of the Torah, of Jewish continuity. We have the great man's theory of Jewish survival, or perhaps the great rabbi's theory of Jewish survival, one person by himself who could ensure the future. Or does Jewish flourishing call upon forward-thinking leaders to empower a community, to teach each other, to support each other, to give each other the tools to succeed, to learn, and to grow? At Cornell Hillel, we very much aspire to put into practice the values of the second approach. Let me tell you just a bit about the past year and to add to what David just mentioned. So this past year, we engaged over 1,840 Jewish students and over 3,000 total students, impacting 20% of the Cornell undergraduate community. So let me just put those numbers into context. I have a much smaller view than David does. Just over the last 2 years, we've increased our Jewish student engagement by 140%. Of those 1,840 students, as David mentioned, 675 attended 6+ events or participated in immersive experiences. And we currently have students right now, 30 students, who are interning in Israel, in Tel Aviv, in Yerushalayim, in high-tech positions. So cumulatively, those 1,840 students participated in 15,000 Jewish experiences. That's 15,000 Jewish experiences this past year. As David mentioned, it includes everything from a Rosh Hashanah dinner to a fully funded 10-day program for student leaders to learn about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict so they could serve as ambassadors and really understand the conflict that's happening in Israel. And we couldn't have done that without the support of everyone in this room. Our budget has increased just in the last 2 years by 45% to $1.5 million. But numbers tell only part of this story. We're a community, and as we learned from the Talmud, we can only flourish as a community through the active support of hundreds of student leaders who are there to support each other. Let me give you a few examples from the past year. For the second year in a row, we brought our Friday night Shabbat experience out from the Kosher Dining Hall 104 West and onto campus. We brought it to North Campus to engage freshmen. We brought it to the heart of campus for Shabbat 1000. We brought it to ILR for ILR Shabbat. And we brought it to the Statler Hotel for Shabbat Across Statler, which we were able to dedicate in the memory of our beloved board member, Tammy Beaver of blessed memory, who passed away this past November. In each instance, a leadership committee of students was central in initiating and planning the program, recruiting their peers, including students who are on the periphery of Jewish life, and facilitating the event. A second example. As many of you know, earlier in the year, hateful anti-Semitic flyers were posted around campus. We immediately opened up the Hillel space to students who felt scared and unsafe. Our students then organized 70+ student groups from around campus who signed a letter denouncing the flyers, and within 2 days, put together an anti-hate rally in the heart of campus at Hope Plaza, leading Anti-Defamation League CEO Jonathan Rosenblatt to post on Twitter, "Powerful response to anti-Semitism on campus. Kudos to the Cornell community." We couldn't do it alone, and Cornell Hillel is proud to be part of the greater Cornell community. Thank you for being here, President Pollack, and thank you for your powerful words immediately condemning anti-Semitism. It's been my honor to serve on the Presidential Task Force on Campus Climate. Thank you for convening it and charging us with the aspirational goal of ensuring every student at Cornell feels welcome, honored, and safe. We're also proud to be a marquee campus of the Hillel movement, and I'd like to recognize, as David did, Hillel's president, Eric Fingerhut, and Chair Tina Price, who are with us today. Thank you all for supporting Cornell. As I mentioned, we've experienced rapid growth over the last 2 years, and this would not have been possible without the generosity and advice of the larger Cornell Hillel community. I'm especially grateful to our Tanner Prize honoree, Joe Lubeck. Joe was one of the first stakeholders that I met with when I joined Cornell Hillel a bit over 2 years ago. Joe, I always look forward to our conversations and for your feedback, your support, and your pretty much daily emails. I'm glad that we were able to spend a significant amount of time together last Friday at your 40th reunion. Morris Eskol, your grandfather, who was class of 1916, dedicated his life's work to Jewish camping and ensuring the Jewish future. Joe, you're living your grandfather's legacy. Members of the Hillel staff are with us today. If you're a Hillel staff member, raise your hand. Woo. The rest of them are outside, sort of just doing the amazing staffing. Every day they bring their passion and creativity and drive to this work. And sort of like Rebbe Chia, who I mentioned earlier, who not only taught students and mentored students, but actually skinned animals and sewed flax, something we have yet to ask our staff to do, to ensure that the students were success. Our staff do everything to set up the students for success, and I'm honored to work with them all. I'm pleased that over 20 members of our Cornell Hillel Board of Trustee and Advisory Council could be here with us today. If you're a member of the Cornell Hillel Trustee or Advisory Council, please raise your hand. Our trustees generously give their time to do the important work of governance and visioning for our organization. This work could not be done without the inspired leadership of our board co-chairs, Elena Lefkowitz and Eric Alderman. Thank you both. Rabbi Chia teaches us that in order to ensure the Jewish future, we have to empower students and teach them to teach each other and learn from each other and form community with one another. This year, over 25 Cornell Hill student interns have worked to engage hundreds of their peers. 150 students have volunteered their time on different committees headed by our student executive board. Our current student president is rising senior Sasha Chenko, and I'd like to welcome Sasha up here to moderate a special panel of Hillel students. Thank you.
I think it's working now. Hi, everyone. My name is Sasha Chenko. I'm a junior studying mathematics and Asian studies, and I am the president of Cornell Hillel Student Executive Board. It is my honor to be here tonight to celebrate the 13th annual Tanner Prize event, and it is my pleasure to have been given the opportunity to moderate a panel of my peers. The four of us and the other students here tonight represent the 150 Jewish student leaders who are involved in all aspects of Jewish life on Cornell's campus. We work with Cornell Hillel staff to create hundreds of programs and to connect thousands of Cornell students to Jewish life, learning in Israel. And in this brief conversation, I would like to highlight the diversity and the vibrancy of our community, as well as to illustrate the Cornell Hillel student experience. So let's get started. Would you each first please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your involvement with Cornell Hillel and on campus in general?
Hi, my name is Erica, and I'm a rising senior. I'm from Long Island, and I'm double majoring in math and economics. And in Hillel, I am the vice president of finance. And besides that, on campus, I'm involved in my sorority, where I'm the membership director. I'm in the community service fraternity, and I'm in the Cornell Actuarial Society.
Hi, I'm Shani. I'm a rising senior as well. I'm from Long Island also. I'm an animal science major, and I was previously on e-board of Cornellians for Israel, as well as the Center for Jewish Living. I'm also going to be a social justice engagement intern this coming fall. Outside of Hillel, I'm a COWS ambassador, and I'm also on the e-board for Pre-Vet Society.
Hi, everyone. My name's Jay. I'm from New Jersey, not Long Island. Go Jersey. I'm a rising senior studying industrial and labor relations. In Hillel this past year, I got to spend it as a development intern with Susu, who I'm sure all of you have basically met. She is unbelievable. And thank you, Susu. And I spent this past year as the president of Alpha Epsilon Pi, a Jewish fraternity, and a captain on the debate team. And this year I'll be the president of Cornellians for Israel.
Right, perfect. So the first question is, well, at Cornell Hillel, we like to describe what we do as building vibrant Jewish life on campus. So what has your role been in this work, and how have you seen or experienced its impact on the greater campus community? So Jay, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so I've really gotten to see Hillel from a lot of different ends, but I'd say the biggest two have been my activeness in Greek life, as well as my engagement with Israel. So as president of AEPI, I had an amazing opportunity to work with Jewish brothers and getting them engaged with Hillel. But in a broader sense, I also got to work with a lot of different fraternities, some Jewish affiliated, many not, but all of which have a lot of Jewish students that needed to be engaged. And so this past year with the Jewish Greek Leadership Council and others, we really had a great opportunity in uniting both Greek life and Hillel in a way that we haven't before. And with Israel, I spent this past year as the treasurer of Cornellians for Israel, but I also got to plan our APAC delegation for the past 2 years. And this past year, we sent over 30 students to the APAC Policy Conference, which was really incredible. And we're hoping to do it again in the future. And also, as Rabbi Ari referred to, we had the Fact Finders mission to Israel this year with 25 student leaders, and I got to go on that trip, which was absolutely incredible. And going with both Jewish and non-Jewish students alike, one, seeing Israel, seeing the conflict, and having really tough but engaging and fun discussions was an enlightening experience. But moreover, coming back to campus, we were able to unite both Jewish and non-Jewish students to have events regarding Israel, to unite both the Jewish community and the non-Jewish community in these discussions, and it really has been a great time.
So like I said before, I'm the vice president of finance, so a lot of what I do is I help allocate the Jewish Student Life budget. And so I'm in a really unique position where I get to be involved in nearly all of the events that Hillel runs. I get to work with many different people and different organizations underneath the Hillel umbrella. And so I get to have a little part in all of the diverse events people run, and I get to see all their different target audiences, which is really special and interesting on campus. And I remember my freshman year, I was actually on the engagement committee, and so we were running Big Red Bar Mitzvah, and I remember coming back to my roommate freshman year and telling her about it, how I was so excited to go and plan the event, and she asks me, what's a bar mitzvah? And I was kind of shocked, but I explained to her she went to a school in Chicago with 1,000 people in her grade, and she said you could probably count on one hand the number of people who had a bar mitzvah. So I went on and proceeded to explain to her what a bar mitzvah was. She ended up coming with me to Big Red Bar Mitzvah. She had the best time. She wouldn't stop talking about it. She was so interested in learning more. She came to Shabbat dinner with me later on in the year and even more events. And so I think that's really special in Hillel that we have the opportunity to engage so many people that we wouldn't necessarily think we'd be able to engage, or people who don't necessarily know much about it. Hillel provides a forum for the discussion of Judaism on campus.
So now we'll move on to the second question. How have you been personally impacted by Cornell Hillel as both a participant and a leader, and how might your experiences with Hillel have a lasting impression?
So I was pretty shy as a freshman, and I remember I joined the Israel Planning Committee for Hillel because I thought that's a great way to get involved, and it was a great way to make friends. And it was run by an incredible undergraduate who really took me under her wing and brought me into Hillel, basically. And so there was also an Israel fellow involved as well. And my friends and I had an idea that we wanted to host a shakshuka event on North Campus within our own dorm. And they let us run with it. And we basically planned the event ourselves with help from the staff. And that really had a lasting impression on me because not only was I able to meet people and like people in my building, I had no idea who they were, but it also really showed me that you can really become a leader through Hillel because they really treat you as adults. And through that, I got involved in the CJL, I got involved with CFI. I'm going to be a campus engagement intern this coming semester. So I think that really had a lasting impression on me because it showed me like you can plan your own event and you can really be an adult on campus.
So my freshman year, actually before my freshman year, I was on campus in April of 2015 as a pre-frosh, and I was just about to leave campus with my mom. We were doing tons of things for 2 days. And she saw on the list we were passing the Tatkin Center, and she was like, "Oh, look, Hillel is there. Let's go meet them." And so reluctantly I went. I was like, "All right, then we can get on the road and get out of here." And I went in, and I actually met Brandon Cohen, and I met many other people there, and they convinced me to do Fresh Fest. I was like, "All right, I'll do it. I get to move in a day early. I guess I get to pick my side of the room, so I'm in." And so I went, and I expected maybe I'd meet a few people, and maybe I'd get a bit involved later on. I didn't really expect too much out of it. And then we had the Hillel barbecue, and I kept getting the emails, so I went to that. And then I went to join the committee, and from there it just kind of grew into more and more events that I attended, and the more things I went to, the more I wanted to go back more. And so I was never really a person who was involved in Jewish life before college. In high school, I didn't do much. I went to Hebrew school, had my bat mitzvah, and then went to temple on the high holidays, and that was it. And so that's what I expected to do in college, and I never thought that this would be a place that I would be able to get so much out of. And now I was able to have a leadership position, which was not something that I really had before, work with so many different people, and have all of these opportunities, interviews, and nearly any question anyone asks me, I can answer with a Hillel experience, and I will always be indebted to Hillel for that. And I'm so excited that my sister, who is an incoming freshman, will have all of these experiences and these opportunities this fall.
So for me, I think coming in as a transfer student, I was just very nervous about getting adjusted to campus and making friends. And that's really where Hillel came in at the start of my college career. And I think leaving college next year, I think it really is the exact same thing. It's the people I've met that have by far had the greatest impression on me. Whether it's for career advice and where I want to go in my professional life, or whether it's just my friends and who I hang out with all day, Hillel really has been that home for me. And going forward, it really is just enlightening to think about all of the people that I'll be able to continue to relate to from my college experience, but moreover, hopefully getting involved with Hillel later and helping others have the exact same experience.
Well, so I think that's all the time we have for tonight. So I'd like to thank Erica, Shani, and Jay for joining me on tonight's panel and for sharing their experiences and their thoughtful reflections. And I'd also like to thank them for their partnership. As student board president, I have the privilege of working with over 100 Jewish student leaders who dedicate their time to making the campus experience what it is. And it's really amazing. And I would also like to thank everyone here tonight for supporting Hillel, which has been a home away from home for a meaningful and vibrant Jewish home away from home for all of us. So thank you guys so much.
I think the Jewish world is in very good hands with students like that. I'm Eric Alderman. I'm co-chair of the Cornell Hillel Board of Trustees, along with Eleanor Lefkowitz, who you'll meet a little bit later. Before I introduce our next speaker, I also want to acknowledge all of our donors who are here. Many of you know Cornell Hillel receives very little funding from the university. And this year, as you've heard, we raised nearly $1.5 million from all the generous parents, students, alumni, friends, and organizations who support our mission. In particular, I want to call out our terrific board of directors and advisory council, many of whom are with us here tonight, who have supported Cornell Hillel financially, but also more importantly with their time and energy to steer Cornell Hillel on the path of success. So all of the members of the Cornell Hillel Board of Trustees and Advisory Council, please stand and be recognized. And we're very proud that on last March's Cornell Giving Day, Cornell Hillel, if it was separately tracked, which it isn't, but if it was separately tracked, amazingly, would have ranked 14th out of all organizations and departments on campus in number of gifts made, and 19th in the amount raised. Thanks to all of our donors, some of whom are here today, who made Cornell Giving Day such a great success this year. And I want to thank our entire staff for helping Cornell Hillel to be recognized this year by Hillel International as one of the top 5 most improved Hillels in the country in terms of breadth and depth in connecting with Jewish students on campus. So let's give a big round of applause for all of our donors, our board, and our staff. It's now my great honor and privilege to introduce Martha Pollack, the 14th president of Cornell University. This is the second time I am lucky enough to introduce Martha at our Tanner Prize event. Martha is completing her first full year as Cornell president. As Ari mentioned, as many of you know, last October, Cornellians woke up one Monday morning last October to find anti-Semitic posters splayed throughout campus. We would like to take this opportunity to publicly thank Martha and the senior staff at Cornell, who quickly and forcefully issued a statement that Cornell reviles the message of hatred in those posters. When asked by the Cornell Daily Sun a few weeks ago what stands out about her first year at Cornell, which some have characterized as turbulent, Martha responded, and I quote, "I experienced moments of turbulence, but also long periods of time in which I just had the opportunity to meet incredible students, incredible faculty. There's a lot of energy here. I've been really pleased at how, and this is going to sound corny, but how friendly and unpretentious people are. People really care, and it's incredible." Martha's being quite modest. She has tackled head-on the turbulence of her first full year on campus. As many of you know, and as Ari mentioned, among a number of other initiatives, Martha convened a presidential task force on campus climate to make sure that all students, including Jewish students, feel welcomed and supported on campus. In addition to being president, Martha is a professor of computer science, information science, and linguistics at Cornell. Martha earned her degrees from Dartmouth and Penn, but she now bleeds red like the rest of us. So without further ado, and on behalf of Cornell Hillel, we thank and welcome Cornell President Martha Pollack.
Thank you, Eric. Hello, everybody. I really want to welcome you all to the 2018 Tanner Prize celebration, and I want to thank Cornell Hillel for organizing another truly spectacular event. This event is a wonderful way to honor Harold Tanner, Cornell Class of '52, and Chair Emeritus of our Board of Trustees, and to celebrate those who, like Harold, have made longtime contributions to Jewish life and to Cornell. I'm so pleased that Joseph Lubeck, Cornell Class of 1978, and Cornell Parent 2006 will be honored tonight. He and his family have more than 100-year history at Cornell, beginning with his grandfather, Morris Eskell, Class of 1916. Joe, Harold, I look forward to hearing more about Joe from you. Tonight's program is also a wonderful way to highlight our Cornell Tech campus. I hope you've all been enjoying this really spectacular campus. It's so important to us because it's such a part of our vision of maximizing the complementary strengths of our upstate and downstate, our rural and our urban campuses in what we call One Cornell. And of course, it serves to highlight our close ties with the Technion Israel Institute of Technology, which through the Jacobs Technion Cornell Institute is a cornerstone of this campus. As Eric said, I've been here just about a year. I have to say the Daily Sun, it's going to stick with me that they described it as a tumultuous year. I didn't experience it that way. And I think I didn't experience it that way in large part because of the wonderful contributions of people like Rabbi Ari. I have to publicly acknowledge Rabbi Ari Weiss, who just jumped right in when we dealt with anti-Semitism, but also when we dealt with Islamophobia and racism. He was right there helping us fight hatred. He served tirelessly on the Presidential Task Force. That was an enormous amount of work. And then he's done other things for us, most recently helping us by directly working with a family when we had an absolutely tragic death of a student who came from an Orthodox Jewish family. And I want to just publicly acknowledge that. As I think everyone here knows, Cornell Hillel is one of the largest student groups on campus. It now has a dedicated staff and more than 150 student leaders. And as you've heard, it has events that touch thousands of students each year. And importantly, not just Jewish students, but students in the wider community. An awfully big part of what Hillel does is something that's a core priority for me at Cornell, and that is help students learn to communicate across difference. You've heard already that more than 3,000 students, a third of them not Jewish, attended Hillel events. And in the process, Cornell Hillel increased everyone's understanding of Jewish life and issues concerning Israel. So here's just one more example. You've heard a number, but here's one more of how Cornell Hillel helps to build community. As Eric Alderman mentioned, I'm not going to tell you this example. You've heard this example. This is about the task force, and you've already done that. Let me tell you a different example. The sukkah. You mentioned the sukkah that you built. It took shape on the Arts Quad, and I would walk across the Arts Quad, and I would listen, and I would hear students who are not Jewish say, "What is that? What is that?" And then another student who may or may not have been Jewish would explain what it was, and explain the holiday, and explain the harvest. And it was really a very, I think it had, I hate this word, but it was really an impactful thing to do. So I appreciate that. The Hillel experience really transcends the years our students spend in Ithaca, and we're so fortunate that the larger Hillel community includes literally thousands of alumni who care deeply about Jewish life at Cornell, and you, have been so generous in their support. Harold Tanner has been one of those champions of Jewish life and of Cornell for decades now, and he's been an inspiration to many of us. Cornell Hillel's Tanner Prize has served to recognize him and others within the Cornell community who share his dedication and his commitment to both Jewish life and the university. I'm pleased that Joe Lubeck is the 13th recipient of that prize, and I'd like to invite Harold to come forward and tell us more about him.
There is a great group of people back there. This has been a wonderful opportunity for me to get a chance to say hello to friends I haven't seen in a while and people who are dedicated to both Cornell and Hillel. Martha, welcome to your second Tanner Prize. We hope that this is a tradition that will long carry forward. This is the first one here at the beautiful Cornell Tech campus, located across the street from your New York home. Huh? Oh. Pearls. Over the last 13 years, the Tanner Prize honorees have been exceptional Cornellians, deeply connected to the Jewish community. Joseph Lubeck, this year's prize recipient, follows in that tradition. Joe is a proud Cornellian who lives in South Florida. Professionally, he is the CEO of Electra America and American Landmark, the owner and operator of multifamily properties in the Sun Belt. You heard earlier that Joe's ties to Cornell began over a century ago with his grandfather, Morris J. Isco, an ag school graduate class of 1916. At a time when there were few Jews at Cornell, Morris wrote an award-winning essay on the strength and vitality of the Jewish people, an essay that was recognized nationally by the Menorah Society, which preceded Hillel. Grandfather Morris certainly influenced Joe's decision to attend Cornell, and we are the better for it. He did graduating from the Ag School in 1978 with honors. Since that time, Joe has followed in his grandfather's footsteps as a generous supporter of Jewish life on about a half dozen college campuses. For example, there are Esco family Israel fellows at Cornell, Penn, and Vanderbilt. These fellows are young professionals who served in the Israel Defense Forces. In their role on campus, they share personal experience of modern Israel and work hand in hand with Hillel professionals. At Cornell, Hillel, Joe's lead sponsorship of Shabbat 1000 has made certain that that dinner continues. And as of next year, in recognition of Joe's support, all Israel programs on campus will be part of the Esco Family Initiative for Israel engagement at Cornell Hillel. It is interesting to note that Joe's connection to and support of Technion predate that university's exciting joint venture with Cornell here on Roosevelt Island. Joe, you are a terrific honoree, and we're so pleased that your wife, is Pam with you? Yes, she is. Where is Pam? I'm a personal experience behind every noteworthy man is a smart woman. Based on your accomplishments and commitment to Cornell and the Jewish community, it is my pleasure and my honor to present you with this year's Tanner Prize. Pleasure getting to know
Thank you,
Mr. Tanner.
Thank you for your kind words.
Where's your prize? Okay. You hold it. This is done by Yossi Siegel's wife, I believe. What? And enjoy and think of Cornell
Beautiful.
and Hillel when you sip out of it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I may have prepared a few brief remarks. First and most important, thank you, Mr. Tanner. The legacy that you've left and continue to make and build at Cornell and at Hillel speaks for itself, and it's an honor to follow in your footsteps and be a recipient of this. My warmest welcome and thanks to all of you who have honored me with your attendance today. President Pollock, Eric, Tina, Rabbi Weiss, Rabbi Rothstein, friends, relatives. Thank you all for taking the time and honoring me. Most importantly, as Mr. Tanner so wisely observed, thanks to my wife, Pamela, whose lifelong support makes all that I do possible, both here and, frankly, everywhere else. To be here today is very unexpected and is a greater honor than I've ever received. I usually try to stay low-key, but to be recognized by the Jewish community, and most especially the Cornell Jewish community, is very near and dear to me. And to be recognized for what I consider to be my humble efforts is truly very momentous and heartfelt thanks. Somehow, though, I'm reminded of what I think must be a Groucho Marx joke. About how did someone like me get nominated for a Tanner Prize. When I look at the giants of education, of philanthropy, of science and business who have been the previous recipients of this award, I think I maybe slipped in the back door. Not sure exactly, but I'm grateful nevertheless. As Mr. Tanner and President Pollock observed, my Jewish journey started at Cornell in June of 1915. When my grandfather, Morris Escall, class of 16, won the Mayoral Prize at Cornell University. He was one of a handful of Jewish students at the time, and he wrote an essay entitled, "The Jewish Student in Our Universities." At that time, it was not exactly a welcome place for Jewish students. His essay was subsequently published in the National Menorah Journal, and he posited, "Greater strength is there in becoming not a non-Jew, nor less of a Jew, but simply more of a Jew when faced with pressures to assimilate." And I think that remains true today. I was largely raised by my grandparents, and Morris and his wife dedicated their lives to mentoring Jewish youth, spending 50 years running a Jewish children's summer camp, where he later concluded his career by writing a book, War Camps or Peace Camps. And I think there's something also to be learned there. Among my charitable endeavors at Cornell, I've tried to follow this example in creating the Escol Israeli Fellows Program that, as mentioned, we've now expanded to a number of other universities. The goal here is to endow Hillel with an opportunity to bring Israeli ambassadors, if you will, to campus and to further the mission of bringing our youth closer to their Jewish soul, closer to Israel, and, equally importantly, to have a positive impact on all students at Cornell by contributing to the wonderful multicultural experience that we know is a hallmark of Cornell University. The Hillel mission is more important than ever today as anti-Semitism rears its ugly head. The Hillel program to help create a return to a civil campus climate and to allow for open discourse among students of all faiths and all beliefs, not just for Jews, but for all true students, is so important today. And that's a very important initiative where Hillel can take the lead, and we have Rabbi Weiss exemplifying that on a daily basis. I'm blessed and honored to be able to contribute in my small way to the good works here. And my many thanks go to Rabbi Weiss, Susanna, both Cornell and national teams of Hillel. It's they who are in the trenches working tirelessly to further the dreams of the Jewish people for our young men and women at the university and in university life. And I'm proud to play my small part. I'm honored to accept your recognition. Thank you, Mr. Tanner, and thank you all for your continued support of Jewish life at Cornell. Those are his. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm the last speaker. My name is Elena Newman-Lefkowitz, and I am Arts and Sciences class of 1988, and I'm co-chair along with Eric of the Cornell Hillel Board of Directors. Thank you all so much for coming tonight and inaugurating our first Tanner event at the Tech campus, not a lunch, a dinner, and we're just really excited that we were able to do this. We're also really pleased to welcome Joe Lubeck to the group of Tanner Award winners, and we thank you for everything that you are doing to help us at Cornell Hillel. This has been a pretty great year for Cornell Hillel. Under the leadership of our exceptional executive director, Ari Weiss, we have met our fundraising goals, we've grown our budget, we've enlarged our staff, and we've enhanced our programming. We were recognized in December, as has been said before, by Hillel International, but we're really proud of it, so we're going to say it again, as one of the top campuses for growth and Jewish engagement. And for those of you who read the New York Forward, we were ranked number 2 as a college for great Jewish life. So those of you who are sitting here today are here because you love Cornell Hillel and you believe in our mission. And many of you have supported us for quite a few years. But there are also some people in this room who are maybe here for the first time, and we want to welcome you and say thank you. As David mentioned at the top of our program this evening, Cornell Hillel has grown substantially over the last 2 decades. I'm really testament to that. When I was at Cornell, I wasn't involved in Hillel at all. Hillel was just not a presence on campus, and we certainly are today. We can claim a budget of $1.5 million. I know you've heard that from 2 other people tonight, but it's just so incredible to us that this is where we are. And only in the last few years have we gotten there. It's quite extraordinary, and we've been able to enlarge our staff to 12 to reflect our growth. I'd like to really offer my profound thanks to everyone in the room for your support and involvement in the work we do. Given the political climate on campus today and the distressing increase in anti-Semitic incidents on all U.S. campuses, but even at Cornell, and the diverse communal needs of Jewish Generation Z, Cornell Hillel's work has become even more essential to maintaining a home for Jewish students on campus. The Federation and university contribute less than 2% of Cornell Hillel's budget. I just want to, that's unusual. I think there are many Hillels in the Hillel universe who do get substantial funding from their universities and from federations, particularly in urban environments. We do not. So I encourage you to continue your connection to Cornell Hillel. We rely on your support to keep our programs running and innovative. And while we have had a strong year, Jewish college students are facing unprecedented challenges, and there are still areas for of our work that could use improvement and need funding. And I'm referring specifically to the fact that we at Cornell Hillel really could use a senior Jewish educator. It's our next big lift. We've been great at engaging our Jewish students, but we need that next level of engagement to solidify. Once we bring them in, how are we going to make the connection impactful? And for that, we need a senior Jewish educator, particularly for the less affiliated students on campus. We also want to continue our investment in large-scale initiatives, such as the Arts Quad Sukkah that you heard about and Shabbat 1000. I also just want to go off script for a second and say that sukkah was not built by Cornell Hillel. That was built by architecture students, and mostly non-Jewish ones at that. I, as co-chair, was extremely excited watching this go on, particularly since Arts and Sciences was my home when I was at Cornell. I hope that this, President Pollock, becomes an annual custom at Cornell. I frankly would like to see it become a competition like Dragon Day, and who can make the most innovative sukkah. I have all sorts of imaginations of Buddhist-style sukkah. We can talk about it. But what that Sukkah did and what Shabbat 1000 did was it brought Hillel to the center of campus, and it welcomed in people of all faiths, and it manifested our Jewish values for the larger community. Our fiscal year ends June 30th. If you haven't had a chance to make your annual gift, please consider doing so by the end of this month. And remember that any donation you make to Cornell Hillel also counts as a donation to the university. This is one of those rare twofers in life where you get double credit for supporting two institutions that you love. So I hope you take advantage of it. And if you've made your gift already, thank you. A few final thank yous. I'd like to recognize my fellow trustees for their dedication and their generosity over this past year. It's really exciting to work with a group of people who are so energized and dedicated, and we feel it at Hillel. Great things are happening, and in great part because of all of your hard work, so thank you so much. A special shout out to Susu. She planned this whole evening. She worked really hard, and we are so lucky to have her as development director. I believe you were, like the student, a development intern when you were. And for those of you who've been coming to Tanner lunches for many years, you might remember that she was the student speaker 7 years ago at the Tanner lunch. I'd also like to thank Ari and the staff from Cornell Hillel who came down to join us, Amanda, Alex, and Dana. To our student speakers, and to the volunteers from the Cornell Jewish Young Alumni Network. Now, just a little shout out to that. That was a new initiative this year. We had 3 amazing blowout events in New York City. We engaged over 250 young alumni. It was really exciting. It was because of all of their hard work, and some of the organizers are here tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are the future of Cornell Hillel Board of Directors, and we are so excited about what you're doing. And finally, to my partner in this venture, Eric Alderman. Not all partnerships work, and this one really does. We bring very different personalities and skills to being chairs together, and it is such a pleasure to be able to work with him and to bounce ideas off of him, and we've become good friends in the process. And it's just a pleasure working with you, and I'm looking forward to the next 3 years of our working together as co-chairs and affecting great change here. So, it's time for the alma mater, which will be led by our young alumni leaders. But I'm going to ask one guest to stand up and join them who's not expecting this. But my dad, Herb Newman, is here tonight. He's up there. He's class of 1953. He just celebrated his 65th reunion in Ithaca last weekend. And he still gets teary when he sings the alma mater. In fact, we have to end our seders with the Cornell alma mater. So here's your big chance, Dad. This is a big seder. So please stand up and let's lift the chorus. What? Oh, and it's on the back if you don't know the words. But of course, everyone knows the words to the alma mater. But in case you don't, they're on the back of the flyer. Dad, are you coming? Dad! Come on down.
No? Waiting. Sorry, I just got so excited.
Seder can't end without you. Will you kick us off?